I made the house inhospitable by turning the heater off. I mean, that's not why. When I turned it off, I sang, "The heat is off." Na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na. Just cut this whole section. My God. All the streets. All the streets. Welcome to the second episode of Honest Jam's Songwriting Podcasts, where two friends dare each other to write a new song each week based on a unique prompt. I'm Walker.
I'm Eyal.
And we have chosen Fingersnaps for this week's prompt.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you about, do you remember the first time that you started writing songs?
I don't remember it, but I've heard a lot of stories, and this isn't really writing songs, it's more of a remix situation. Oh. But when I was a toddler, I don't know, 4 years old maybe, I lived on a farm, and I don't know how that's relevant, but just picture a farmhouse. Yeah. And my parents' friends were over.
Was this on Catalina Island?
No, this was before the move to LA. This is Wisconsin, Black Earth, Wisconsin, and me being 3 or 4 years old. Probably, and I learned at least most of the ABCs. And when my parents' friends were over, I did a performance where I closed my eyes and spun around in a circle and sang my ABCs, however, whatever mangled version I invented. And as soon as I'd get to Z and finish, they would applaud, and then I would just start doing it again. I would just do it again, and they all had to kind of start making eye contact with each other and going like, okay, this time don't clap. And then she'll just lose interest and wander away.
So you just wanted the
just
constant
a ham
stimulation.
From way back. I just did the bare minimum to entertain, and then I sought out that spotlight forever.
Damn. But do you remember the first time you actually sat down and were like, I'm going to write a song?
I don't. Yeah, my brother and I would just make up a lot of songs when we were kids and just put music on and freestyle over it and stuff. So I don't remember that first conscious effort. Do you remember yours?
I remember the time period. It was after high school. Let's demons.
Pause. Okay. All right. This podcast is going to fall apart if somebody steps on the floor upstairs. I've already got the heat off.
You stomp out those clomps?
I did. I put a stop to the clomps. Victor was just on a break from recording, nice. Clomping break. I just think I'll go step around in the house.
So I had just moved out of my parents' house, and up until then, I had kind of been doing the classical music thing. And then I feel like when I left my parents' house and wasn't in school, scheduled out things like that, I had to actually find intrinsic motivation to play music.
Sure.
And I just didn't have it. Basically just stopped playing music for 6 months or something like that. And then songwriting is the way. I have no idea what inspired it or where it came from, but I just decided to start writing songs, and I basically haven't stopped since then. For some reason, that gave me the motivation to keep doing it. And
did you share them with people immediately, or did you just sort of gather a trove?
Yeah, I didn't, especially the lyricism felt really not exactly me or something like that. I don't really know.
Right. So, yeah. It takes time to find your voice.
Yeah.
All kinds of writing.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think the first time I really shared music with people was when I moved to Portland. Like it took me a while to actually like take that stuff, put it out, like perform it in front of people. Like I had made a couple recordings that I like gave to friends or whatever, but having an actual like scene around me where there was things constantly happening, you know, like I feel like that is a huge part of it. Is if the culture around you is supporting doing those things, then that helps you to realize that those things are possible, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Portland's had such a supportive music scene for as long as I've been here, since the early 2000s.
Totally. Yeah. So yeah, that's where everything came from for me. Should we move on to the topic of the week?
Yeah, let's get on to the theme.
All right.
Which
Fingersnaps.
I almost regret having picked, because I thought the internet was going to have a lot more to say about it, but it had a few things.
Oh, was that your motivation for picking it? Was the amount of cool facts that you would get out of it?
In a way, yes. As the person who's doing the 10 minutes of research.
Uh-huh. So?
What does the internet say on the topic of the day? And if it's wrong, you can let us know by using the internet too.
Well, snapping, you might imagine, has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Found artworks depicting musicians and dancers snapping in ancient Greek artifacts, 320 BC. On the more modern side of things, the internet believes that snapping has pervaded modern country music production and managed to make it more insipid and bland at the same time.
The general internet agrees about this.
Well, mostly one video. It was very persuasive. We'll put it in the links. Of course, there's claps. Snapping is a substitute for hand clapping, which may not be as disruptive to speeches and announcements. You can also hold a drink with one hand and snap with the other.
Oh, sure.
So it's got a practical application over hand claps.
Yeah.
Snapping at poetry readings has become traditional by this point. There are two kinds of snapping, two most popular kinds of snapping. One of them, which, as we learned last week, I'm not very good at, and I didn't actually find too much time to practice. I'll give it a try at the end of the segment.
Yeah.
But the other kind I found, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, beshkan, a traditional Iranian way to snap called the Persian snap.
Yeah.
And you create a chamber with your hand that is able to your snap is able to reverberate. And I watched
it's like a two-handed snap.
Right.
Yeah.
I watched two videos and I still could not get it.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
I've tried that before, but I've never been able to do it.
I could not get it at all.
Yeah.
Here's a regular snap. No, that's a bad one. Oh no.
Oh yeah.
There's the one. Edit all the rest out.
all the
I got it.
What other
First
ones?
try.
Is that all you got about snapping?
No,
You got more snap facts?
I've got
some more snap
a
facts.
couple more snap facts. Notable songs that snaps have been used in are The Andy Griffith Show.
How's that one go? I don't remember.
That one is a double whammy because it has whistling too, if I remember.
Oh yeah, is that the?
Yep.
Yeah.
Twin
What are the
Peaks.
snaps on that one?
I don't know where the snaps land. Twin Peaks has snaps, and the
Sure.
Addams Family
Oh,
theme.
that
Might be the most famous one.
Yeah, pinnacle of snap songs.
Yep. And that's all I found on snaps.
Yeah. In your snap research, did you come across Lord Snappy?
No. Tell me more.
This guy. Okay, here's the best way I can describe it. Imagine like what you think the best version of snapping is. This guy exceeds whatever you're imagining. I guarantee it.
He's that good.
Yeah.
Okay, so double hand snap, of course.
Let me just show you.
It's mesmerizing.
He gets so blissed out too. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, right?
Wow, Lord Snappy?
Lord Snappy. Like I said, right? Like way more impressive than anything that you could have imagined.
Absolutely.
That's what the internet said.
All right, so our theme today was Fingersnaps. And you shared your song first last time. Should I go first?
Yeah.
What did you make this week? What did you make this week? Tell us all about it. 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 Tell us all about it.
All right. What did you make this
All
week?
right. I made a song called Fingersnap Karen that is a little bit meme inspired. I've got a Reddit
Meme, not mean.
meme. Stepped away from Facebook to a degree and just filled that need to scroll with Reddit lurking. So I come across a lot of memes. But it's actually about a kind of a scarring experience I had in a customer service job.
Oh.
So here it is, Fingersnap Karen. I should say before you play it, I had my bandmate Pony over to look at some roughs for a recording we're working on. And while he was here, I thought, since he's a great bass player, so I thought, let's just get this guy on my song. We didn't make any rules about who else could come and participate on your song.
Recruit along, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
as long as, but I keep thinking of asking you, and I'm like, no, because then you'll hear the song.
Oh yeah, don't ask me.
I can't get that sweet clarinet tone on my jams. It's sad.
Or you could send it. You could like.
It would be too hard
You
to
could be
have
like,
you play on it without hearing.
Play something in the key of at this tempo.
Okay, that should be.
That could be a prompt.
That's a prompt where you just explain to the other person some basic parameters of the song, and then just let them go in blind. As long as we're both at 98 beats per minute, we'll be fine.
Definitely one for the possibility basket. All right, Fingersnap Karen.
Sound of
Yeah. A little acting.
A little bit.
That's awesome. That snare drum on there. Thwack.
Thwack, yeah.
So thwacking away. So you want to tell us the story?
Well, the initial idea for this one happened.
I mean this story.
Oh, the story.
Yeah.
Well, I used to work at a beloved little produce market in Southeast Portland. R.I.P. Limbo. It was a great, great little market. Had a lot of herbs and stuff. And I was at work
If you know what I mean.
at the register. This was before legalization, so it didn't have those types of herbs. We had like burdock root and things like that.
Could never get the hang of burdock.
I was just chatting with my coworker, and I hear a snapping sound. And, people would yell across the store, they would yell, hey, or excuse me, or something. We were used to it, and it was a big, reverberant, echoey room. So there was just a lot of noise all the time, espresso machines and things like that. And this woman was really just staring at me and snapping, like as if you're calling a dog or something.
No.
And it was like, it was the first time it had ever happened to me, but I knew to be enraged. Like, yeah. I just knew that it was fair that I was offended. So I didn't go to her.
You knew she was making a hierarchy and she was in charge in her mind.
She had the haircut that later would become the famous I want to talk to the manager haircut. She had that. Yeah. And then Karen is just like, for my purposes, I use the meme Karen. I never learned her name.
Yeah. Appropriate.
And actually, I don't even remember whether I ended up going to help her or I think I just kind of pretended to ignore her.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she needed some kava or something. She needed to chill out because snapping and staring at a customer service person.
No good.
And that got me thinking, it's really, so my favorite lyric is later in the song here, and it says, you can't flip the smile of a seasoned pro. That valley's uncanny like sweet and low.
That was my favorite lyric too.
And that one is directly from my experience in customer service because, the challenge there, the hard part is not ringing up the item or carrying the drink. The hard part is like enforcing these boundaries while maintaining courtesy and just getting to that right level. And it all depends, what kind of work environment you have, whether your bosses want you to throw yourself at the
customer is always right
of the customer or so that's the challenging part. So customer service people,
because you're like, I would never allow you to treat me this way in my day-to-day life, but I have to compromise my morals or whatever in order to keep making money.
Right. Yeah. And when you get really good at it, I guess you build up such a psychic shield that, stuff doesn't bother you.
Or you think that at least.
Or you think that, but no, it always takes a toll.
Well, especially that customer service. Checkers saying the same programmed response over and over again. And,
the best is after a long shift when we would start mixing up the niceties that you're supposed to say.
Right.
My favorite one was when someone was leaving and we'd finished the interaction and then I just said, hello.
Just computer reset.
I didn't even get to make a joke about how I said the wrong thing. They were already out the door and I was just like, oh boy.
Your body just went through the motion.
Hello. Customer service robot. So that's what the song's about. And the idea I had for the song came to me when I was sort of half asleep still. When I'm waking up, sometimes if there's a puzzle I'm working on, my brain will just start to it, and I've been talking to some comedy improvisers about having this puzzle brain, and I think songwriters and artists have it, and scientists and anyone in any field that's got that inquisitive nature to it to want to solve this problem.
Yeah.
And that's why I like this podcast, because it's a new puzzle every week. What's your song going to be?
Yep.
And I knew I wasn't going to get much better at snapping to put the snaps in the song. So I thought, I once was mildly scarred by someone snapping at me.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll put that into a song. And then we talked about John Prine last week. And I love that groove, that slow country funk kind of groove that he gets on albums like Sweet Revenge has a couple. So yeah, I just decided to set out to write a John Prine style song
Got it.
about this experience.
Nice. So do you want to talk about how you just kind of made the whole song in general? Or?
Sure. I started with bass with my pal Pony, who was over, and he just played, he just borrowed my little short scale Mustang, and we just went direct into a compressor, and I ended up throwing some distortion on the bass. And what you hear as a guitar was actually an acoustic ukulele that I ended up, sometimes if your room sounds a little garbagey, like mine does at this point, you lean into that trash factor and, crunch everything up. And it was a traditional progression for the most part. So I feel like we don't need to hear so clearly all of the chords being spelled out, so you can get away with some crunch on it.
Yeah.
And it just gave it a vibe. So I leaned into the plugins and the crunchy.
Yeah.
I've been interested lately in creating effect sounds live with the instrument that's performing. It's just been something I'm interested in. One of the bands I play in, Bitchin', does this with vocals where we'll echo each other and, like a round robin thing where it sounds like it's a delay, but it's just the voices doing it.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to want to thrash the drums out. So toward the end of the song, I started getting really thrashy on the hi-hats and just built that as if I was adding an effect to it. I just can't support too many plugins at once right now. So I'm trying to get as many interesting sounds just on the track before I treat it with anything.
Yeah.
And so I did that with vocals this time.
Oh, cool.
I made my voice do a weird kind of oscillation thing. I've been re-listening to some Meredith Monk the last few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Who's a sort of avant-garde vocal piece composer. And she does all kinds of strange things with voices that are wondrous. And the last time I listened to it, I realized, it sounds like she's affecting the voices with oscillators or chorus or things like that. And they're just doing this, and it's these patterns. And so I wanted to do that. So I isolated some pretty silly sounding vocals that are on the last line of the song. Cool. And I've saved a recording of just those vocals. So this is no effect on it. This is just my voice.
And I don't recommend the service industry.
I mean, to be fair, it is buried in there quite a bit. There's a bunch of other psych freak out keyboards going on.
That stuff adds vibe, though, always. Like, even if you can't hear it, I feel like. And it's also obviously adding some kind of audio information in there.
And I was slightly embarrassed doing it, thinking if somebody walked through the house, they're going to hear me sounding like a sheep.
Why is that embarrassing? Like, I don't totally relate. I totally feel the same thing, but why do you think it's embarrassing to do that?
I don't know. I mean, I've pretty much carved out this space.
Right. Especially like this house.
Belting out some vocals, and people probably aren't going to hear it, but I don't know. It's
like a weird kind of vulnerability or something.
It is. It's like social pressure's still there not to make some weird noise when I get excited by music that has very strange vocals on it. But
only in the context of music, right? Like, it's not common that I get excited about just the person walking around in the world making those kind of sounds.
No, it's within an art context.
But it's so weird because it's like say you're just like practicing music in the house with other people in it. Mm-hmm. It's way more vulnerable to sing than it is to just like play an instrument, right? Right. That's your unique voice, right? Your own unique timbre. Yeah. Then I guess there's a part of it when I'm just like fucking around making weird sounds. There's a part of me that wants to go like tell the other people like, no, this isn't like really me. This is just me like messing around. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to make sure they know like I'm doing this in good taste or something. So let me ask you, because where we live in Lent's neighborhood, there's some action occasionally. There's some yelling outside. Oh yeah. Some grievances. I don't know what's going on out there, but there's some noise in the neighborhood. And I thought I heard you
doing some crazy kind of singing, like sing yelling. Were you doing something like that? Or was it just the neighbors?
Maybe. The song that I wrote this week definitely has some like chanting or some, I don't know. You'll hear the song. Maybe you can tell me
Okay,
if
yeah.
it was similar.
I heard some yelling coming through the wall. I just didn't know if it was the neighbors.
I don't tend to like yell, I would say, that much. But should we move on to mine?
Yes. So what song are we going to hear from you today on the theme of Fingersnaps?
So I thought of the word snap, and then for some reason I thought I should make it into an acronym. And so this song is called SNAP.
Civilization is just what we make it. Why you there pretending like you're faking it? Get us. You say this is the way, then does that mean that you can't change it? Give it a snap. You got that say no apologies policy. You're a sycophant. You got that say no apologies policy. 'Cause you're a sycophant. You got that say no apologies policy. You're a sycophant. No apologies policy. Sycophant. No apologies policy. Snap out of it. Snap out of it. Snap out of it. Snap out of it. You got that say no apologies policy. You're a sycophant. You got that say no apologies policy. You're a sycophant. You got that say no apologies policy. You're a sycophant. No apologies policy. Sycophant. No apologies policy. But you think you're civilized. Civilized. But you think you're civilized.
Snap.
Snap. I feel like I got that, what was that dude from last week? Moondog. Moondog. After I had gotten significantly through the song, I was like, oh, slithery rhythm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was nice. I liked all the rhythms in there. Say no apologies policy.
The say no apologies policy. Yeah, I don't know how that popped into my head.
That was some Lord Snappy level snapping there.
Oh, well.
In the middle section.
Sampled. Well, there's a lot of, the whole drum beat is all sampled.
Oh, okay.
So that's, I didn't know how to do that. And it was so easy to do in Ableton. I just recorded myself snapping and saying snap. Mm-hmm. And then it was as easy as just like pulling up a MIDI drum pad plugin. Mm-hmm. And then I could just literally take the audio file and just drag it onto the different pads on the drum pad. So I could just like super easy just chop up, everything. So I had like the P of the snap was like more like the kick sound. The S was kind of like a, like a hi-hat kind of thing. And then have snaps. Yeah,
nice. I'm going to give us both the dictionary award this week for sycophant.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't know what that
song.
meant. What did your word mean? I was going to ask
Symbiont?
you. Yeah.
I guess it's a Star Trek reference.
Oh, okay.
I guess it's a Star Trek reference
guess?
to the. Well, I mean, Star Trek builds on a lot of classic ideas and names and stuff. But I know symbiont from the Trill species on Star Trek, which are these symbiotic beings. There's a host, and then there's an organism that lives within the host. So it's like a parasitic nature, but it's considered very valuable to be even considered as a host
right
for the trill. Like the trill refers to the parasite
right
species.
Yeah.
So symbiont.
Right. But sycophant, so I had come up with that acronym. Here, let me play. I have an early version of me coming up with the kind of like initial thing. You got that say no apologies policy. You got that say no apologies policy. That was like the initial thing I came up with. And then the drum beat ended up getting straightened out.
So what does sycophant mean?
So sycophant, then the word sycophant popped in my head. I started saying it like against that beat, but I didn't really remember. I knew it had something to do with kind of like a leech kind of, and that's basically what it kind of ended up meaning. Is it's like a person that like sucks up to power, basically.
Oh.
So then, the song started becoming, it started becoming like political, like kind of like the last one, where it's just kind of like.
So this is about rich people destroying the planet?
Basically, or people like that think that power structure is the only way of being that matters, basically. Mm-hmm. And I think it's more speaking not necessarily to even people that are in like power, but people that are delusioned into thinking that that's kind of like the way that humans should be, and like the best way is just to kind of like pursue these power dynamics, and you just
they're holding it up.
Exactly. Yeah. So they suck up to it, but it's like we can choose to be whatever we want, really, as a people. Sycophant. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I learned it in like high school or something, and it's always been in the back of my head, but I've never quite known what it means. So it's fun to use it in a song because I probably won't forget.
I didn't know exactly what it was. I knew it was something negative.
Yeah. So I also struggled with this one a bit. I had to try a lot of things that didn't feel like they worked. My workflow was really like chaotic around it. I worked over like multiple days. I didn't really keep track of what the settings were on the synth, even like what patch I used, or what, like, you know, how I had dialed in the bass or whatever. So each section I think feels kind of like wonky and pretty different than all the other ones. The ending in particular just like feels like it just comes in out of right field kind of.
I liked the ending a lot.
I like where it came to.
Yeah, when it's just kind of building up and rising at the end and it's getting a little psychedelic. I like that.
Yeah, I'm pleased with what I came to, but it took a while to get there. Let me show you.
But you think you're civilized. Civilized. But you think you're civilized.
So I like that groove, but like it just didn't really fit in the thing. And I also think that's just, there's a lot of places in this song where I just don't play a part that well. You know, like I don't execute it the way that like.
Well, that's the name of the game
right.
on these songs.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, a lot of.
That's how you get shit done, is by being okay with that.
Exactly. I mean, on the first two songs so far, I've just thrown on like, okay, I'm going to give myself 4 passes through this guitar solo.
Right.
Oh, just double it. Put some distortion on it. There you go.
Yep. Go.
A little bit of editing. But yeah, it's not perfect. You have to just accept where it is. So would you see yourself working on this one farther and adding more? Or?
I don't know. It's hard. I don't know. That's the thing about. I think you know. I think you know it when you know. When you know there's a song that you're like, this is a song I want to perform live. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's when I'm like, okay, this song's worth like pursuing into like making, like putting it on an album or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm interested to see how many of these. You know, we've played those like 20 song games. And
20 song games are a designated 12 hours, all individually writing hopefully 20 songs, but really the point is just as many as you can. And then you meet up after that for a demo derby and play each other what you've made that day. Yeah. And really going for 20 in that 12-hour period is wild. I mean, you will settle for some pretty bad lyrics. The last go round, I did all instrumentals because I was like, I am not going to be slowed down by terrible lyrics.
Yeah.
But that's the part that's hardest for me.
The lyrics.
Anyway, right. So that's maybe where I could use to loosen up a little bit.
Right.
and let the flow happen more with writing lyrics. No, I write down little phrases I hear people say,
Yeah.
and I save those, and I just get a lyrical idea and kind of catalog them. And then I usually just need one good concept and one good line about what the song is.
Yeah. A
And
way in.
a way in, and I can take it from there.
Yeah.
But just coming up with a ton of lyrics on the spot is not
Right.
easy in the way that, a chord progression or something is at this point in my
Yeah.
musicianship.
Yeah. What I was going to say about the 20 song game is it's also, say I write 12 songs. Usually there's, maybe 2 of them that I want to just like take further, it's just quantity is the thing that makes quality, basically. It's like the more you just keep doing it over and over again, and eventually you'll like make some cool shit.
On one level, though, I have to believe that every one of my songs is like a good song and worthy of being played live.
It's perfect just the way it is.
It's a finished like
All my children are the same.
I wouldn't want to go into writing, okay, I'm going to write 10 songs and 8 are going to be throwaways. I can't go into it
right
with an attitude of that.
No.
Do you have a theme for our challenge next week?
Okay. Next week's theme. I've been feeling like for some reason I'm writing all this political bent things right now. So I was trying to think, what's a theme that can kind of like, I could write something political based on this theme, but it's not really in the spirit of the theme.
You're trying to steer yourself away from accidentally writing something political.
Just something a little like less, a little more lighthearted.
Okay, so what's not political then?
Lullabies.
Ooh.
Yeah. Lullabies.
All right. That sounds nice.
Yeah.
It's like you're
Put
assigning
people to sleep.
us
That's the point of the
mellow,
podcast, right?
I like how you're just like prescribing us a mellow few hours.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Lullaby.
Yeah. You could do like,
Satan's
lullaby. Exactly. Lullaby of death.
Well, now I can't. It's taken. You already said it. So if you're writing along at home, the theme is lullaby.
And we'd love to have you share anything that you create with us. You can email us at honestjamspodcast@gmail.com. You can post it on the Facebook page. Oh, and, if you have any facts, any interesting tidbits about lullabies that you want to share with us, feel free to do that too.
Well, I guess that wraps up our second episode. We could bang on pots and pans.
And still kick out some honest jams. Honest Jams podcast is written, recorded, and produced by A. Walker Spring and Eyal Alvis, and edited by me. Special thanks to Victor Nash for mixing our theme music, and special thanks to Oogie. And thank you for listening. We can't wait to hear what you make.